Here is a question worth sitting with for a minute. You probably use AI most days now. You open a tab, you type into a chat window, you wait, you copy the answer out, you paste it into a document, and if it is not quite right, you ask again. That works, and it genuinely helps. But have you ever stopped to ask where that AI actually lives and what it is allowed to touch on your own computer? Because there is a second way of working with AI that most people have never been shown, and once you see it, the chat window starts to feel like training wheels. This video is about the real difference between browser AI and AI that lives on your own machine, and why that difference changes what you can actually get done in a day. I am going to compare the two across the dimensions that actually matter to you as a person doing real work, not as a tech demo. Where it lives, whether it can see your files, what it actually hands back to you, whether you can repeat it, and honestly, what it feels like to sit there and use it for an afternoon. What browser AI is. Let me call the chat window in your browser level 0. Not as an insult, it is where almost everyone starts, and it is genuinely useful. You ask a question, it gives you an answer, and you decide what to do with that answer. Think of it as a very smart person locked in a room with one small window. You can slide questions in through the window, and they slide answers back out, but they cannot come out of the room, they cannot see your desk, they cannot open your filing cabinet, and they cannot put a finished document back on your table. Everything has to pass through that little slot, one message at a time, in plain text. That single limit shapes everything about how it feels to use, and we are going to walk through exactly what it costs you. Now picture that same smart person, but this time they are sitting at a desk in your office. That is AI on your computer, what I will call level 1. It is the same underlying intelligence, but it lives on your machine instead of behind a window. It can open the folder you pointed at. It can read the actual spreadsheet, not a copy you pasted in. It can look at 12 files in a row, do the work, and save the finished result back into your folder with a sensible name. You are not feeding it scraps through a slot anymore. You are handing it the keys to one room and saying, the work is in there, go and get it done, and tell me when it is ready. Say you have a folder of receipts you need turned into one tidy expense list. With AI on your computer, you point it at the folder, you say what you want, and it works through the lot and saves you a clean file. The information never had to leave your machine, and you never had to open a single receipt yourself. That is the shape of the difference, and it shows up in almost everything you do. Can it see your files? This is the dimension that matters most, so let me be precise about it. Browser AI cannot see your files. Full stop. Anything you want it to work with, you copy and paste in by hand, or you upload one file at a time. If the information you need lives across 10 documents, you are the one opening all 10, copying the relevant bits, and stitching them together before the AI even starts. Say you have a folder of 40 customer inquiries, and you want them sorted by topic. In the browser, that is 40 copy and paste actions, and you will lose your place halfway through. AI on your computer works the other way around. You point it at the folder, and it reads what is there directly. The gathering, opening, and pasting, which is honestly most of the work, simply disappears. You set it up once to know where your files live, and from then on you just describe the job. What you get back. Think hard about what each one actually hands you. Browser AI hands you a block of text in a chat window. It might be excellent text, but it is still text sitting in a tab. You have to read it, copy it, open the right program, paste it in, fix the formatting, and save it somewhere sensible. That last mile is yours every single time. AI on your computer hands you finished files instead. A renamed batch of photos, a spreadsheet with the new column already filled in, a draft saved as a proper document in the right folder, named the way you would have named it. You asked for a thing, and the thing now exists on your computer, ready to open. That gap between an answer about the work and the actual finished work is the whole game. Picture asking both of them to clean up a messy list of 200 contacts. The browser describes how it would do it, and maybe shows you a sample, and then you are still the one carrying it across into your real file, row by row. The one on your computer just opens your file, does the cleanup, and saves it back. One of them talks about the job, the other one finishes the job. When you start noticing which is which, you cannot unsee it. Can you repeat it? Here is the part almost nobody talks about. With browser AI, every task starts from zero. Last Tuesday, you worked out a clever way to get exactly the result you wanted with the right instructions in the right order. This Tuesday, that is gone, you are typing it all again from memory and probably getting a slightly different result than before. With AI on your computer, you can save the steps. Once you and the AI work out how to do a job well, you write it down as a small reusable skill, a named recipe the AI follows the same way every time. Next month, you say the name, and it runs the whole thing again, start to finish. The first time is figuring it out. Every time after that is just pressing go. For work you repeat weekly, that is the difference between a chore and a button. Think about whatever job you do every Monday morning, the same shuffle of files and the same little steps. In the browser, you re-explain that job from scratch 52 times a year. On your computer, you explain it once, name it, and after that you just call it by name. The hours that used to vanish into setup quietly come back to you, and you barely notice you stopped dreading that task. How it feels to use, the two also feel completely different to live with day to day. Browser AI feels like a conversation you have to babysit, ask, read, copy, paste, check, ask again, fix the bit it got wrong. You are the glue holding every step together, and your attention has to stay in the loop the entire time. The moment you walk away, everything stops. AI on your computer feels more like handing a task to a capable assistant. You describe the outcome you want, it goes and does the steps, and it comes back when there is something for you to look at. You stay in charge, you still review the work before it goes anywhere, but you are no longer the courier carrying text back and forth between windows. For a busy owner, that shift in where your attention has to sit is the real prize. Browser AI keeps you tethered to the screen. AI on your computer lets you set a job running and go deal with a customer, then come back to something that is actually done. That is not a small thing when your day is already full. What browser AI is good for? Now let me be fair, because this is not a story where one side wins everything. Browser AI is genuinely good at a lot of things. If you just need to think something through, draft a quick email, get a plain explanation of a confusing topic, or brainstorm an idea with no files involved at all, the chat window is fast and frictionless. There is nothing to set up, you open a tab and you go. For one-off questions and quick thinking, that is often exactly the right tool, and reaching for something heavier would only slow you down. So the point is not that browser AI is bad, the point is that it has a ceiling, and most people never realize there is a whole floor above it. A good rule of thumb is this: if the answer is the thing you need, the browser is fine. If finished files are the thing you need, you want AI on your computer. Most of us live in the second world far more than we admit. We have just been making do with the first one because nobody showed us the door, the jump from level 0 to level 1. So what does it actually take to move from the chat window up to AI on your computer? Less than you would expect. You install an AI tool that is allowed to run on your machine. You set up a simple workspace, a place where the AI and your files can meet. Then you run one small real project with your own files from start to finish, so you feel the difference for yourself instead of just hearing me describe it. And finally, you save that project as your first skill, so the second time costs you almost nothing. It is 4 steps, and the hardest part is honestly just deciding to begin. You do not need to be technical, and you do not need to understand how any of it works under the hood. You just need to follow the steps once, with your own work, and let the result speak for itself. Once you have, you do not go back to copying and pasting. Your next step, if you want to make that jump, we built a free step-by-step course that walks you through exactly this, from level 0 to level 1. Installing the AI tool, setting up your workspace, running your first real project with your own files, and making your first simple skill. No fluff, no hype, just the steps in the right order. Head to afirstasia.com/level1 to get it. And if you want more of this, practical AI workflows built for SME owners and the people who actually run the day-to-day, subscribe. We keep it honest and we keep it concrete, because that is the only kind of AI advice that is worth your time.